I would think that Dr. Bawumia would have to do a PowerPoint presentation, basically telling us where we are right now as a country, looking at our assets and our liabilities, and exactly tell us how he's going to move significantly our liabilities to become a bit of assets so that we move forward. People do it all the time, and I know he can do it. I mean, excellent leaders like Netanyahu. Well, Netanyahu has been excellent before until recently when I don't like him that much. But, well, let's just say. But he does a PowerPoint presentation on the state of Israel. You'll be wowed. Certain leaders around the world, Amaya PowerPoint presentation, basically showing how to move their country from being middle to highly effective, right?
Yeah.
So you should do that analysis and tell us how we will never ever get there again. One example I'll give in that regard will be one. This debt exchange, we need to know whether there'll be, if at or yes, our analysis maybe we'll be able to know whether we are likely to do a debt exchange in 2026, because by then we first of all that when you said debt exchange, the first really comes around 2026, so that we don't have to see whether he, and then secondly whether he needs to restructure the debt or he's not going to do it at all. We need to know, because sadly it was painful. You know how pensioners and suffering and all of that.
Yeah.
You see, I'm relying on these issues around money, because without money you can't do nothing. All the issues around good governance, be nice, rule of law, I'll come there. They are good. But right now we are in an economic war, and I think we need the battle-ready people or persons who must show us exactly a pro forma invoice. Okay, me yawe, scano sisiano hanaka. Me ba me yawe, me reduce where. This is how much I'll save.
Yeah.
If you sack a few people, if you reorient certain ministry, for frigging how does a railway ministry live by itself alone? How? What is this? Right? All these funny naming of agencies and dicing them up should all cease. So if it does that asset versus liability assessment, it is free advice, really, because that's how I would do it anyway. If I were running this country, I was going to run the country, I'll do that. Look, before I go ahead, people used to laugh at man here with domestication, Dan Latte.
Yeah.
But did you know that in 2008, Dan Latte was the only politician who put a cost to how much revenue he will raise for the country? People don't know that. We've been doing this manifesto analysis in 2008, and we saw it through. The only problem with late Dan Latte, was that the estimations he made would have meant that Ghana would have become the 7th best economy in the world, largest economy in the world. But he was ambitious to the extent that he did an analysis and said, I'll mobilize resources to the tune of $840 billion, right? And so by the first tenure of his administration, that was about $7.2 trillion, which would have rivaled the UK economy.
Yeah.
But that is ambition. I see it there. It makes sense, right? Even though it's an estimation. If you don't get that money, what next will you do? So, scale of preference. These are basic things we learn in economics. You don't have to come and sound highly knowledgeable.
Yeah.
We don't need those. What we need now is a scale of preference. Scale of preference, no. Jack, this is how much I'll tax you people. We should even have a conversation with industry. How much are you willing to pay? Okay, I think if you pay this is how we'll move the needle a little bit higher. But mama make a crabby once then but they have to promise. Me check a cry. What will you give me down the road? Would you make sure that maybe healthcare, you reduce certain levies on healthcare? So along the way, you run an economy that even though people may feel at once so taxom kakribia, they know that down the road they'll benefit from education or benefit from something else. And by the way, by education, I don't mean the type of free SHS we are doing. It's completely ineffective.
I see.